Are you tired of feeling like your money's slipping right through your fingers? What if I told you there are 10 expenses you could drop right now and wouldn't even miss them? Imagine walking into your favorite coffee shop, ordering your usual latte, and then realizing you just spent more on that one drink than you did on your weekly groceries. Sounds crazy, right? Well, stick around because today we're going to uncover some sneaky expenses that might be doing exactly that to your budget. I'm going to give you some really great ideas to help you save money starting today and take back some control of your finances. Before we dive in, let's take a quick look back at yesterday's show where we discussed how you should take a digital Sabbath and how to do it. If you want to take back your life from your electronic devices, check it out. Remember, if you missed any of our episodes, you can always find them at AskRalph.com. Now, before we jump into today's juicy topic, I want to share a message from one of our faithful listeners. This comes from Sheila in South Dakota. Dear Ralph, I've been listening to your show for months now, and it's really opened my eyes to how I've been mismanaging my money. I feel like I'm always broke, even though I have a decent job. I know I need to cut back on spending, but I'm worried I'll feel deprived. It seems like by the time I get to the end of the week, I'm broke and just waiting for my next paycheck to hit. Living like this is really terrible and I need some help. Can you suggest some expenses I can cut that I won't even miss? Thanks for all you do. Well, Sheila, your timing couldn't be better because that's exactly what we're talking about on today's show. I want to thank you and all of our listeners who send in those questions. Remember, folks, this show is all about answering your questions, so keep them coming. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of the Ask Ralph Show. I'm your host, Ralph, and I'm thrilled you've joined us today. As always, I'm here to help you master your finances with a Christian perspective. Now, before we dive into our main content, let's turn to the good book for some wisdom. The book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 10 tells us, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. Now, this verse reminds us that being faithful in small financial matters is just as important as handling large sums, and that our habits of little amounts shape our character for bigger financial decisions. Now let's get to the heart of today's show. 10 expenses you can drop immediately and won't even miss. Are you ready to save some serious cash? Well, let's go. Let's start with the latte factor. We've all heard this one, but it bears repeating. That daily trip to the coffee shop might seem harmless, but it adds up fast. Let's do some math. If you're spending $5 a day on coffee, that's $25 a week. That's $100 a month and a whopping $1,200 a year. Instead, why not invest in a good coffee maker and some quality coffee beans? You'll still get your caffeine fix and your wallet will thank you. Now, this one's easy for me because, to be honest, I don't like coffee. Here's another pet peeve I talk about all the time, and that's unused subscriptions. How many streaming services do you really need? Take a look at your subscriptions, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Amazon Prime, Apple TV. The list goes on and on. Pick your top 2 or 3 and cut the rest. You might save $30 to $50 a month, which is $360 to $600 a year. Yup. I need to put that to work myself. I guess I'm going to have to go over my budget after I get done recording. As an aside, I learned just a few days ago that I can even get some of these streaming services for free. That's right, I looked at my Verizon online account and it says these are free, so check that out for yourself. You might save some serious money. Let's talk about those brand name products. Switching to generic or store brand products for things like your medications, your cleaning supplies, and your basic groceries can save you a bundle. The quality is often just as good and, in my opinion, sometimes even better. And you could save 20 to 30% on these items. Let's say you spend $500 a month on these types of products. That's potential savings of $100 to $150 a month, or $1,200 to $1,800 a year. So here's another of my personal vices, and that's eating out. I get it, cooking can be a chore. But if you're eating out or ordering in multiple times a week, you're throwing money away. Even if you just cut back to eating out once a week instead of 3 times, you could easily save $100 a week. Listen, folks, that's $5,200 a year. Now look, this also includes those online delivery services. I gotta be honest, it amazes me how many people spend so much money on DoorDash and Grubhub. Listen, it's your money, but I can tell you that you're wasting money and you can save a huge amount over a year. Well, how about those impulse purchases? You know those little things you throw in the cart at the checkout line or add to your Amazon order just because they look cool? Cut them out. These small purchases can easily add up to $50 to $100 a month. Again, eliminating them could save you $600 to $1,200 a year. And guess what? They are intended to tempt you. Don't fall for it. Let's chat about those gym memberships. If you're not using it regularly, it's time to say goodbye. The average gym membership costs around $50 a month. That's $600 a year that you could be saving. Instead, try workout videos on YouTube or go for runs in your neighborhood. That's free. Take a walk. That's nearly free and it'll give you a clearer mind anyway. How about that cable TV subscription? With so many streaming options available, cable TV is becoming obsolete. Cutting the cord could save you anywhere from $50 to $100 a month depending on the package you have. That's $600 to $1,200 a year. Unfortunately, it's another thing I guess I really need to consider. We're so accustomed to these services, but we really need to ask if they provide us value and are there more cost-effective ways to stay connected? Here's one for you. Are you paying high-interest credit card debt? Okay, this one might hurt a little at first, but you'll thank me later. If you're only making minimum payments on your credit cards, you are throwing money away on interest every month. Make a plan to pay them off as quickly as possible. If you're paying $100 a month in interest, eliminating that could save you $1,200 a year. I've done a ton of episodes on this, and I want to encourage you to go back and listen to how to take control of your debts. This could potentially save you hundreds of dollars a month and several $1,000s a year. And here's the best part. It's also going to improve your credit. Well, are you guzzling down that bottled water? Not only is that bad for the environment, but it's also terrible for your wallet. Invest in a good water filter and a reusable water bottle. Let's think about this. If you're spending $5 a week on bottled water, that's $260 a year you could be saving. Get a reusable bottle. Might just encourage you to drink more as well. My doctor's constantly telling me to drink more water. I've heard that we all are generally dehydrated, and that causes so many health issues. And last but not least, how about energy waste? This one's simple but often overlooked. Turn off lights when you leave a room, unplug appliances when you're not using them, and adjust your thermostat by even a few degrees. These small changes could save you $20 to $30 a month on your energy bill, which adds up to $240 to $360 a year. Okay, I'm going to date myself, but I can still remember those commercials and the push when I was a kid about turning off those lights when you leave the room. I think we need to revisit this and likely save some money. And listen, LED lights might be more efficient, but they're not free. Well, now let's add it all up. If you implemented all of these changes, you could potentially save, drumroll please, anywhere from $11,860 to $14,120 a year. That's not pocket change, folks. That's a substantial amount that could be going towards paying off your debt, building that emergency fund, or investing for your future. But Ralph, you might be thinking, won't I miss these things? Here's the secret. You probably won't. Most of these expenses are things we do out of habit rather than necessity or even true enjoyment. The key is to replace them with more cost-effective alternatives. For example, instead of going out for coffee, invite a friend over for a homemade brew. You'll still get the social interaction, but at a fraction of the cost. Instead of multiple streaming services, have a movie night with friends where everyone brings snacks. Instead of going out to eat, learn to cook some simple, delicious meals at home. I bet my wife would love it if I started doing that. Remember, the goal isn't to deprive yourself. It's to be intentional with your spending and align it with your values and long-term financial goals. As the book of Proverbs, chapter 21:5 tells us, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. All right, Ralph, I'm sold, but how do I make this happen? So now I want to give you some actionable steps to take based on what we've discussed today. First thing is, review your bank account and your credit card statements for the past month. Identify any recurring expenses that fall into the categories we discussed. It shocks me just how many people don't do this, and they let things just keep charging each and every month, even when they aren't even being used. Second thing, make a list of these expenses and the approximate amount you spend on each per month, and then look at it per year. Then, number 3, choose 3 to 5 of these expenses to eliminate or reduce right now this month. Start small if you need to. Remember, small changes can lead to big results over time. Number 4, for each expense you're cutting, identify a cost-effective alternative. For example, if you're cutting out the coffee shop visits, plan to make coffee at home. Number 5, keep track of how much you're saving. At the end of the month, celebrate your success and decide what to do with the extra money. Maybe you could use it to pay off debt, add it to your savings, or maybe give a little extra to your church or a charity. And 6, gradually work on eliminating or reducing the other expenses on your list. Remember, financial freedom isn't about having unlimited money to spend. It's about being in control of your money and using it in a way that aligns with your values and goals. As Christians, we're called to be good stewards of all that God has blessed us with, including our finances. And that brings us to the end of today's show. I hope you found it helpful and that you're excited to start cutting some of those sneaky expenses from your budget. Remember, if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover on the show, send them in. This show is all about answering your questions and helping you on your journey to financial freedom. My passion is to help you. Yes, you. I want you to find personal and business financial success and live out your faith. Now, don't forget to visit our website at AskRalph.com and join our community. When you do, you get a free copy of my book, Mastering Your Finances. That's a $10 value on Amazon, absolutely free for just joining our email list. And if you found today's episode helpful, do me a huge favor. Share it with a friend or family member who might benefit from it too. Together, we can build a community of financially savvy Christians. Your share might just change their life and give them a real opportunity to gain some personal financial freedom. Tune in tomorrow for our episode on I Just Got Married. Do you have a newlywed tax checklist for me to follow? It's going to be a great one for all of you newlyweds out there. And until then, as I always say, stay financially savvy and God bless you.
Thank you for joining us on the Ask Ralph podcast. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. And remember, financial issues don't have to be complicated. Just ask Ralph. The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media, Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.